Welcome to the 2300 Pick 6 podcast. I'm your host, Dave Walker, about to do week 8, where DWALK is right and where DWALK is wrong. So it's going to be a little bit of a longer show tonight. We also have the playoff picture I'm going to talk about, my top 10 grade / trick or treat. New for those on YouTube, what that means is since we're near the eve of Halloween pretty soon, what that means is what teams were a treat to watch and what teams tricked you in a good way and also in a bad way. And grades are like my overall grades of how everyone is doing. And then we'll do the playoff picture, which I will decide which team will make the playoffs or will not make the playoffs. But first, we're going to do where DWALK was right and where DWALK was wrong. Well, there's a little bit of some. Well, actually, there's a lot of rights. There's not that many wrongs. So I had a very good week this week. Just the 1 o'clock just kind of fucked me over a little bit, but everything else went right in the world. So we'll do our first right, which is Vikings Chargers, which I got right picking the Chargers. Chargers dominate Vikings 37-10 as Justin Herbert throws for 3 touchdowns. 4 days after a humbling loss, the Los Angeles Chargers bounced back in a big way. Yes, they did, and this also was the game that got me off the 3-game skid of Thursday Night Football. The Chargers looked better. This was a game they needed to try to keep pace with Denver and the Kansas City Chiefs. They looked good. Herbert looked good. I almost thought the Chargers were going to charger that game when Herbert threw a lone interception, but it didn't matter. Vidal looked good. Herbert looked good. Ladd McConkey looked good. The whole running game and the defense did its job getting to Carson Wentz, and Carson Wentz, unfortunately, is injured. He is not contemplating retirement as he thought he was going to do, but he is not. He is injured. He will not be back for the game when they play against the Lions. I don't know who the quarterback is going to be, if it's going to be J.J. McCarthy or the rookie Zach Brosmer. So we're going to wait and see what happens Sunday when the Vikings go up against the Lions. But a breakdown out of this game. Oronde Gadsden, the second 8-yard pass from Justin Herbert. Kamali Vidal, 3-yard rush. Will Reich, a 54-yard field goal. Ladd McConkey, 27-yard pass from Justin Herbert. Cameron Dicker, 43-yard field goal. Jordan Addison, 4-yard pass from Carson Wentz. Trey Harris, a 6-yard pass from Justin Herbert. Cameron Dicker, 34-yard field goal. Cameron Dicker, 45-yard field goal. Leaders for the Chargers were Justin Herbert, 18-25, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, and 227 yards. Kamali Vidal, 23 carries, 117 yards, and a touchdown. Ladd McConkey, 6 catches for 88 yards and a touchdown. Leading sacker for the Chargers was Justin Ajobi, and leading tackler was Benjamin St. Just with 7 solo tackles. For the Chargers, their next game is against the it's against the Titans this Sunday. As for the Lions, as for the Vikings, their next game is against the Detroit Lions. Next game I got right and wrong is Dolphins-Falcons, which I got wrong picking Atlanta. Tua Tagovailoa throws 4 touchdown passes. The Dolphins overall Falcons 34-10 to end 3-game losing streak. Tua Tagovailoa may have to consider making a helmet visor more than a one-time addition to his uniform. And let's also give this: the Falcons were without Michael Penix. It was Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins did not look good in this game. They literally let the Dolphins come back in here, literally keeping McDaniel's job safe for the moment. I still think the man is getting fired, but the Falcons did not look good. They are still bipolar after losing against the 49ers, which they shouldn't have lost, and now losing this one. Now they are now on a 2-game losing streak, and they now have a tough one against the New England Patriots this Sunday. As for the Dolphins, they have a tough one this Thursday against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. It is not going to go easy for them to do this because their schedule is very, very tough. It's not like they are going to run the table. It's going to be very tough for them to try to get into this mix, but we'll wait and see what occurs between these two teams. But a breakdown into this game: Devin H. 3-yard pass from Tua Tagovailoa. Parker Romo, 45-yard field goal. Riley Patterson, 34-yard field goal. Blake Washington, 9-yard pass from Tua Tagovailoa. Jalen Waddle, 43-yard pass from Tua Tagovailoa. Ali Gordon, the second 20-yard pass from Tua Tagovailoa. Riley Patterson, 36-yard field goal. Tyler Algier, 6-yard rush. Leaders for the Dolphins is Tyler Algier, 20 of 26, 4 touchdowns for 205 yards. Devin Akane, 18 carries for 67 yards. Jalen Waddle, 5 catches for 1 touchdown for 99 yards. Leading sacker was Jordan Brooks with 1 sack, and leading tackler is Jordan Brooks with 7 solo and 10 tackles. For the Dolphins, they play Thursday night against the Baltimore Ravens. For the Atlanta Falcons, they play Sunday against the New England Patriots. Next one I got right and wrong is Jets-Bengals, which I got wrong picking the Bengals. Who would have thought? Holland Fields helped the Jets edge the Bengals 39-38 for their first win of the season. The winless start of the New York Jets took a toll on Justin Fields. At one point in the run-up to Sunday's game in Cincinnati, he found himself laying down in his closet crying. Yeah, I would have thought that this would have been another game that the Jets were going to lose. They probably would have been 0-8 right now, but no. The Bengals, you thought with Joe Flacco, how he looked on Thursday Night Football, that this was a little bit of a turn, that this could get salvaged. Now, after being in a trap game with the Jets, I don't know if this can get salvaged for the Bengals, because right now it's going to be a little bit tougher now, because you now have to deal with down the road. You got to deal with Pittsburgh one more time. You now have to deal with the Ravens with Lamar Jackson coming back. The Browns could actually try to pull a fuck you game in the last week of the season, but we don't know what's going to happen with Flacco and them right now. You could try to get another backup and see. I don't know how this Flacco experiment is going to work. If you're going to try to get Russ, I would say Kirk Cousins, but he didn't look good in that game against Atlanta, or anyone else I could think of right now. For the Jets, I know they're not going anywhere, but they got their first win. They should be happy. Hey, you got your first win. You're not going to go winless, but you're still on the clock, and you're probably going to be getting a first-round pick wherever. But that's what we have just for that. But all in all, out of this game, Evan McPherson, 26-yard field goal. Joe Flacco, 1-yard rush. Nick Folk, 46-yard field goal. T. Higgins, 44-yard pass from Joe Flacco. Tyler Johnson, 15-yard pass from Justin Fields. Chase Brown, 19-yard pass from Joe Flacco. Nick Folk, 25-yard field goal. Nick Folk, 24-yard field goal. Samaje Perine, 32-yard rush. Breece Hall, 5-yard rush. Chase Brown, 1-yard rush. Breece Hall, 27-yard rush. Justin Fields pass Isaiah Davis for the 2-point conversion successful. Mason Taylor, 4-yard pass from Breece Hall. Nick Folk kick was good, and leading what ended the game was Joe Flacco throwing a late interception. Leaders for the Jets. I never thought I'd be saying that now. Justin Fields, 21-32, 244 yards and a touchdown. Breece Hall, 18 carries, 133 yards and 2 touchdowns. Leading receiver was Tyler Johnson with 3 catches for 1 touchdown, 64 yards. Leading sacker for the Jets was Will McDonald, the 4th, with 1 sack. And leading tackler was Malachi Moore with 5 solo tackles and 8 tackles. For the Jets, their next opponent is against they're on their bye week. So their next opponent is against the Cleveland Browns. For the Bengals, their next opponent is against the Chicago Bears on Sunday. Next game I got right in the right and wrong is Browns-Patriots, which I got right picking the Patriots. Drake May throws 3 touchdowns as Patriots overcome Myles Garrett 5-sack game and 32-13 win over Browns. New England Patriots coach Mike Vrabel wanted to add energy in Gillette Stadium after watching his team lose 2 of its first 3 games at home to open the season. I'm going to say this right now. The Patriots are looking good, even though they've been playing against very, very bad teams. They've only beaten one quality opponent, which was the Buffalo Bills. But as my friend Wolf would say, shout out to him, he needs to see consistency from Drake May against consistent good team. Next week, they play another bad team. They play against the Atlanta Falcons, who are 3-4. Now, can the Patriots keep this momentum and keep this win streak alive? Because they still hold sole possession of first place, even though the Bills did beat the Panthers, which we'll talk about a little later on. But this is a game they need. After 5 sacks from Myles Garrett, the Patriots overcame it and still got the win, which was needed. Because I will say this. My friend Wolf would have got mad as hell, and we would have been on here, and I wouldn't have minded coming on here for doing a right and wrong with me to literally bash Drake May. But Drake May has to still show consistency. Now, the Patriots don't play a good opponent until 2 weeks, and they play against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Then we're going to see how Drake May does, and we're going to see how this Patriots team does. Now, if they beat the Bucs in 2 weeks, we'll have a different conversation about Drake May, and I'll have a different conversation about this. But right now, we got to see a little bit more right here. Not knocking the Patriots. Have a good record. Possibly could go into a wild card. Just don't know what seeding just yet. Because eventually they do have to play the Bills yet again. But we're going to wait and see what occurs down the road. For Cleveland, yeah, they're going to be on the clock. I know they're not going to start Shador. If I were them, trade him off somewhere or do something. But Myles Garrett, if I were him, I know he's got that contract. But to see that effort go to waste, I know there's a point where he probably might want to demand a trade to get out of Cleveland. But a breakdown out of this game. Andy Borregales, 36-yard field goal. Harold Fannin Jr., 18-yard pass from Dylan Gabriel. Andy Borregales, 32-yard field goal. Andy Borregales, 42-yard field goal. Hunter Henry, 7-yard pass from Drake May. Stephon Diggs, 1-yard pass from Drake May. Keyshawn Boot, 39-yard pass from Drake May. David Njoku, 11-yard pass from Dylan Gabriel. 2-point conversion failed. Dylan Gabriel, intentional grounding for a safety, and that was it. Leaders for the Patriots, Drake May, 18-24, 3 touchdowns and an interception, 282 yards. Trayvon Henderson, 10 carries for 75 yards. Mac Hollins, 7 catches for 89 yards. Leading sacker for the Patriots was Onfray Jennings with 1 sack. And leading tackler for the Patriots was Robert Spillane with 14 tackles and 5 solo ones. For the Patriots, their next opponent is against the Atlanta Falcons at home. For Cleveland, their next opponent is against the New York Jets on November 9th. They are on their bye. Next one I got right and wrong is Eagles-Giants, which I got right picking the Eagles. Saquon Barkley breaks out with 150 yards before hurting groin as Eagles pound Giants 38-20. Saquon Barkley burst free for a 69-yard touch on his first carry and topped the 100-yard rush for the first time this season before he left with a groin injury, the kind of setback that could derail last season's 2,000-yard rush just as he was playing like his old self. Hold up, Barkley, he's fine, honest. Okay, well, Saquon has a groin injury, but the Eagles are on a bye, so they should be good when they play the Green Bay Packers in 2 weeks on Monday Night Football. No AJ, no problem. I'm going to say this for the Eagles right now because literally this was a game that Joe Law had stated that this was a game I said, okay, now with AJ Brown out, this was the game where Saquon Barkley had to take control and have himself a good game. And he proved me and Joe Law right because this is what I actually wanted to see. Him getting over 150 yards, going back to his old self. Now, he did suffer a bit of a groin injury. That's when Tank Bigsby came in, and he got a 31-yard rush off a 2nd and 31 due to an Eagles holding penalty. But it didn't matter. The Eagles dominated this game, getting their revenge on the Giants. And I'm going to say this right now. I'm not a fan of the Giants, and I don't wish injury upon anybody. Damn shame what happened to Cam Scatterboo. He's a great athlete. He was having a good rookie season. I hope he comes back next year healthy. But prayers up for you, man. Damn shame what happened to you. But I know that we're going to talk about the tush push, that was a fumble. I'm going to say right now, it did look somewhat of a fumble, but the whistle was already, I think the play was already dead at that point. And with that play, it's a little bit hard to tell with so many bodies. Now, if Kayvon Thibodeau just pulled the ball out, then I would have understood that's a fumble. But with this, it's a little hard to tell. I know next year they're going to keep bitching. The NFL is going to keep bitching about this and keep going to try to find ways to ban this play. I don't know. If it does get banned, then the NFL has succeeded in doing it. But we don't know what is going to happen. And I would also like to say thank you to this, and I know Giants fans don't want to say this is to do my best Chris Stantlander condescending impression. If I get my best Chris voice. Thank you, Giants. Thank you for all you've done. And I would like to thank Jackson Dart very well for putting $900 in my pocket for that garbage touchdown. Thank you very much, New York, for putting $900 in my pocket. And I'd also like to thank Saquon Barkley and Dallas Goedert and Cam Scatterboo before he went down. Thank you very much for putting that in my pocket. But a breakdown out of this game. Saquon Barkley, 65-yard rush. Cam Scatterboo, 18-yard pass from Jackson Dart. Saquon Barkley, 9-yard pass from Jalen Hurts. Graham Gano, 47-yard field goal. Dallas Goedert, 6-yard pass from Jalen Hurts. Oh, and Dallas Goedert, too, if I didn't say that. Thank you, too. Jake Elliott, 40-yard field goal. Graham Gano, 34-yard field goal. Dallas Goedert, 17-yard pass from Jalen Hurts. Jahan Dotson, 4-yard pass from Jalen Hurts. Jackson Dart, 2-yard rush. Leaders for the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, 15-24, touchdown for 179 yards. Saquon Barkley, 14 carries, 1 touchdown, 150 yards. Devontae Smith, 6 catches for 84 yards. Zach Bond, 1 sack. Zach Bond, 3 solo tackles and 6 tackles. For the Eagles, they are on their bye week. They will play the Green Bay Packers on Monday Night Football. For the Giants, their next game is against they on their bye. Their next game is against the 49ers this Sunday. Next game I got right and wrong is Bills-Panthers, which I got right, picking the Bills. James Cook runs for 216 yards and 2 touchdowns. Allen accounts for 3 touchdowns as Bills rout Panthers 40-9. A little rest proved just what Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills needed. Yeah, that bye came at a good time for the Bills to get their shit together, and it worked at a great time because they dominated the Carolina Panthers. Now, Panthers are at 500. If they would have had – now I know Panthers fans, we didn't have Bryce Young, was Andy Dalton. I don't think that would have made a difference. Even with Bryce Young out there, I don't even think Bryce could have made it close. I think Bryce would have got shut out by the Bills. And the Bills were looking for blood after getting embarrassed by the Patriots and the Falcons. But this was a game that they needed to try to keep pace with the New England Patriots to try to get first place. Now, for the Bills, they have a tough one this Sunday against the Kansas City Chiefs at home. And we're going to see how this game goes there. Now, this is a game that could either A, help the Bills get back in first, B, for the Chiefs, 1, to help them try to get first place back either over Denver or the Chargers to see what they can do. Because I can see the Bills are still going to make the playoffs. Same with the Chiefs. They're both going to make playoffs. Carolina is going to be a little bit tough. I have to see what their schedule is like down the road to see maybe if they will sneak in as a wild card with Bryce Young. But we're going to wait and see what occurs down the road for the Carolina Panthers. But a breakdown out of this game. Matt Prater, 45-yard field goal. Matt Prater, 43-yard field goal. Ryan Fitzgerald, 48-yard field goal. James Cook III, 64-yard rush. Josh Allen, 1-yard run. Khalil Shakir, 54-yard pass from Josh Allen. James Cook III, 21-yard rush. Josh Allen, 1-yard rush. Chuba Hubbard, 3-yard rush. Oh, I want to say this to Carolina. Fuck you, Rico Dowdle, for fucking my money over, because I could have walked away with $1,700 altogether. I could have walked with $800. But no, Carolina had to put Chuba Hubbard to get that last touch and couldn't let Rico Dowdle do it. So I say to you, fuck you, pal. Leaders for the Bills. Josh Allen, 12 out of 19, 1 touchdown, 163 yards. James Cook, 19 carries, 2 touchdowns for 216 yards. Khalil Shakir, 6 catches for 1 touchdown, 88 yards. Leading sacker for the Bills was Michael Hoke with 1.5 sacks. And leading tackler for the Bills was Dorian Williams with 4 solo tackles and 8 tackles. For the Bills, they play against the Chiefs next Sunday. For the Carolina Panthers, they play against the Green Bay Packers this Sunday. Next game I got in the right and wrong is Bears-Ravens, which I got wrong, picking the Bears. Tyler Huntley leads Ravens past Bears 30-16. Derrick Henry scores 2 touchdowns for Baltimore. And what they hope will be their final game before their Jamar Chase returns. The Baltimore finally looked pretty good without him. I'm going to say this. If Wolf, if you're listening, if we do a show tomorrow, shout out to you, man, because you did get this right. I was wrong. You did call this as a fuck you game for over the Bears with either Tyler Huntley or possibly Lamar Jackson. So you did get this right. And I think, Joe Law, you also got this right, too. I think you did. I'll review the tape and I'll look at that episode, but you also got it right, too, I think. But I was wrong in this one, and I can own up. I thought the Bears would pull this off. Unfortunately, they did not. They didn't look good in this game, and they had horrible, horrible clock management at the end to try to bring this thing within reach, but it didn't matter. The Ravens got the win, which was needed right now to try to salvage something here. Because right now you are 2-5. The Steelers did lose to the Packers, and I'm going to talk about later when I cross that game. The Bengals lost to the Jets. Did not see coming. And the Cleveland Browns lost to the Patriots, which I did see coming. So right now, this division is somewhat up for grab between 3 teams, between the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Bengals. Lamar Jackson will be back this Thursday against the Dolphins to see if he can try to get it to 3-5. If he does, then we've got to see how the rest of this schedule plays out to see where Baltimore will be. As for the Bears, horrible clock management, as I said earlier, did not do good, could not get the job done, and that is something that's going to have to get worked on. Yes, we got a lot more football to go. We're now in the month of pretenders and contenders. Now, if the Bears don't fix this, they're going to be on the outside looking in yet again like they did last year. But we're going to wait and see when I analyze their whole schedule to see if they will make the playoffs or not. But we'll wait and see. But a breakdown out of this game, Cairo Santos, 32-yard field goal. Cairo Santos, 39-yard field goal. Derrick Henry, 2-yard rush. Tyler Loop, 42-yard field goal. Tyler Loop, 28-yard field goal. Tyler Loop, 32-yard field goal. DeAndre Swift, 2-yard rush. Charlie Kolar, 10-yard pass from Tyler Huntley. Cairo Santos, 47-yard field goal. Derrick Henry, 2-yard rush. Leaders for the Ravens, Tyler Huntley, 17-22, a touchdown, 186 yards. Derrick Henry, 21 carries, 2 touchdowns for 71 yards. Zay Flowers, 7 catches for 63 yards. Leading sacker for the Ravens was Mike Green with 1 sack. And leading tackler for the Ravens was Roquan Smith with 12 tackles and 7 solo ones. For the Ravens, they played this Thursday against the Miami Dolphins. For the Chicago Bears, they play on Sunday against the Cincinnati Bengals. Next game I got right and wrong is Texans 49ers, which I got wrong, picking the 49ers. Stroud at season high, 318 yards passing with 2 touchdowns, lead the Texans over the 49ers, 26-15. With star receiver Nico Collins out Sunday against San Francisco, Houston Texans needed someone to step up to make up for his absence. Yeah, they did. This was a game they pulled off the upset I didn't see coming. The 49ers, I thought were going to pull this off and try to get the win because the Rams were on a bye to try to see if they can get even more sole possession of first place. But unfortunately, they did not. They lost this game, and now you're having to deal with both the Seahawks and the Rams right now trying to get pace to see how they'll do in this division. As for the Texans, a game they needed to see what they could try to salvage, to see if they could push for a playoff push. I really don't think they're going to win their division, how the Colts have been playing. So I don't see the Colts having a meltdown anytime soon. But for Houston, this was a win that they needed to try to keep in pace with a playoff push. But we're going to wait and see when I do the schedule analysis of it to see if they will make a playoff. But a breakdown out of this game, Kami Fairbairn, 33-yard field goal. Kami Fairbairn, 34-yard field goal. Jaden Higgins, 12-yard pass from C.J. Stroud. Kami Fairbairn, 37-yard field goal. George Kittle, 17-yard pass from Mac Jones. Xavier Hutchinson, 30-yard pass from C.J. Stroud. James Tong, 2-yard pass from Mac Jones. Mac Jones passes to Marcus Robinson, the two-point conversion successful. Kami Fairbairn, 30-yard field goal. Leaders for the Texans. C.J. Stroud, 30 of 39, 2 touchdowns and an interception, 318 yards. Woody Marks, 11 carries for 62 yards. Xavier Hutchinson, 5 catches for 1 touchdown, 69 yards. Leading sacker for the Texans was Derek Barnett with 1 sack, and leading tackler for the Texans was Jalen Pitre with 3 solo ones and 8 tackles. For the Houston Texans, their next game is against the Denver Broncos on Sunday. For the 49ers, their next game is against the New York Giants. Next game that I got right and wrong is, let's see here, Buccaneers Saints, which I got right, picking the Bucs. Anthony Nelson and the Buccaneers defense shine in a 23-3 victory over the struggling Saints. Anthony Nelson will have to settle for watching replays of one of the best plays of his 7-year NFL career because he couldn't really recall how it happened all in real time. Even without Mike Evans, the Bucs won game, and this was not a cardiac Bucs game. Tampa Bay literally dominated this game with their offense, with their defense, holding the Saints to 3 points, shutting them out without no touchdown, because this game could have felt like a shutout how it was. And how bad it got for the Saints, had to bench Spencer Rattler for Tyler Stroud. So right now, I said the Saints were on the clock, which they are going to be on the clock for their first-round pick, trying to find a quarterback. But I knew that this was going to be a loss, but I knew that they were going to dominate right now. Even though, yes, the Bucs are going to have no Mike Evans. It's going to be a little bit of an issue. Then they're going to have to wait when Chris Godwin gets back. It's going to be the lineup of Godwin, Tez Johnson, Emeka, and I would say Sterling Shepard a little bit. But the Bucs are finding ways to win games, trying to hold on to first place in their division, trying to make that playoff push, which I know they will make. I just don't know how far they will go. We'll wait and see down the road. But a breakdown out of this game. Anthony Nelson, 3-yard interception return for a pick 6. Blake Group, 48-yard field goal. Sean Tucker, 1-yard rush. Chase McLaughlin, 55-yard field goal. Chase McLaughlin, 52-yard field goal. Chase McLaughlin, 54-yard field goal. Leaders for the Bucs. Baker Mayfield, 15-24, 152 yards. Sean Tucker, 12 carries, 1 touchdown for 42 yards. Tez Johnson, 5 catches, 43 yards. Leading sacker for the Bucs was Anthony Nelson with 2 sacks, and Levante David had 4 solo tackles and 10 tackles. The Bucs' next opponent this week is against they're on a bye. So Tampa's on a bye on the 9th, so they will play the New England Patriots on their bye week. For the Saints, their next opponent is against the Rams. Next game that I got right and wrong is Cowboys-Broncos, which I got right picking Denver, unfortunately. Bo Nixon, rookies lead Broncos to 44-24 victory over Cowboys, extending home win streak to 9. A trio of rookies came up big in the Denver Broncos 44-24 rout of the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday for their 5th consecutive victory. As I said before, and I'll say again, the Dallas Cowboys do not do good against the Denver Broncos, regardless if that game would have been in Arlington or if it was in South Park. That game was in South Park, and I knew we were not going to win that game because we never do good against the Broncos. And unfortunately for those out there, that promise of the free beer is out because the Cowboys did not win. But I knew that the Broncos were because the Broncos look good, and I'm not going to count them out. I'm going to put respect on their name, as my friend Josh Ho said. Shout out to him. This is a team that can cause some damage. Now, we've got to see how far they are going to do. Now, eventually, when they have to play the Kansas City Chiefs, I want to see how this team does and see how they can do. And we're going to wait and see how they do everything here. Now, can this team go far? I don't know how Bo Nix can take this team far. I know they're going to go to a wild card. I just don't know how far they're going to go in a wild card. Are they going to make it to a divisional? Are they going to go long shot, an AFC championship? Another long shot, a Super Bowl. We're going to wait and see what occurs with them. Because Bo Nix has been playing outstanding football. Cortland Sutton has been playing outstanding football. They damn shame Pat Surtain did suffer an injury game, and he's going to be out for a while. But we're going to wait and see it goes. On the other side of the ball with the Dallas Cowboys, and I know a lot of people would say Trayvon Diggs wasn't there. He was injured. Yeah, Dallas Cowboys had a lot of injuries on the secondary, and that still does not matter here. They were not going to win this game. And the defense does have to get fixed. Pass rush, secondary. The whole thing needs to get fixed. Even though with Dak, he tried his best, he did throw an interception. And at the point when it got to halftime, I knew this game was getting out of control. And that's when I did my Eric Cartman impression. And I was just put this game on my phone and playing my PS5 and doing my best Eric Cartman impression, which I'm going to do right now. Screw you guys. I'm going home. And which I did. But a breakdown out of this game. Brandon Aubrey, 24-yard field goal. R.J. Harvey, 40-yard rush. Troy Franklin, 25-yard pass from Bo Nix. Javonte Williams, 1-yard rush. R.J. Harvey, 1-yard rush. Pat Bryant, 24-yard pass from Bo Nix. Javonte Williams, 1-yard rush. Will Lutz, 42-yard field goal. Troy Franklin, 7-yard pass from Bo Nix. R.J. Harvey, 5-yard pass from Bo Nix. Jalen Tolbert, 35-yard pass from Joe Milton III. Leaders for the Broncos. Bo Nix, 19-29, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, 247 yards. J.K. Dobbins, 15 carries, 111 yards. Troy Franklin, 6 catches for 2 touchdowns and 89 yards. Leading sacker for the Broncos was John Franklin Myers with 1 sack. And leading tackler for the Broncos was Alex Singleton with 11 tackles. For the Broncos, their next game is against the Houston Texans on Sunday. For the Dallas Cowboys, their next game is against the Arizona Cardinals on Monday Night Football. Next game that I got right and wrong is Titans-Colts, which I got right picking the Colts. Jonathan Taylor scores 3 touchdowns. Colts pound Titans 38-14 and move to NFL best 7-1. Jonathan Taylor and Braves having a lighter workload and a shorter day Sunday. For the Colts, right now, I know they've been beating up on bad teams. They've only beaten Denver was early, and I can't say that was at the time that was early. But until they have to play Denver again, which would be maybe well, if both win their division, the more likely it would occur would be in a divisional or possibly an AFC championship. Possibly. I don't know yet. But we've got to see how this goes. Daniel Jones, Indiana Jones, whatever nicknames you want to call him. I'll drop what I used to say with the Giants. You used to call him Danny Crimes. I can now drop that nickname right now. I'm going to still say I think that Daniel Jones could be the NFL Comeback Player of the Year. Jonathan Taylor is looking good, putting up MVP performances at this moment, looking very, very good. The defense for the Colts is looking good. Jones is looking good. Same with Pierce, Buckner, Pittman, and Downs. But this is a Colts team that you got to watch out for. Now, eventually, they are going to get tested. Now, I don't know when their next hard game is. They do have against the Steelers. Okay, that is somewhat a little iffy right there because it's Aaron Rodgers. But in 2 weeks' time, but in 4 weeks' time, let's take that back because they have to go to Berlin to take on the Falcons. After that, they are going to get tested against the Kansas City Chiefs. And I want to see how this team does in Arrowhead against the Chiefs. Now, like I said again with the Rams, that's their only loss. They lost to the Rams, which is a very good team, which they hung stride for stride. But if Daniel Jones is not thrown an interception and Tutu Atwell does not get that game-winning touchdown, the possibility the Colts could have pulled off the upset. But in 3 weeks' time, when we get to November 23rd, if they can beat the Chiefs, we're going to have a little bit of a different conversation about the Colts. But we're going to wait and see what happens when they have to play that team, when they have to get tested. I still think that this team is going to win their division. I don't see Houston winning it, and I don't see the Jags winning it. The only thing that could happen to them is anything catastrophic happens to Jonathan Taylor and maybe even Daniel Jones, but I am not wishing that. But we're going to wait and see what occurs down the road with the Colts. As for the Titans, they're already on the clock, getting their first-round pick, whomever that may be. It's going to take a while for them. I already see Tony Pollard is going to get traded. He will most likely go to the Chiefs. But we're going to wait and see what occurs down the road with the Tennessee Titans. But a breakdown out of this game. Michael Bagley, 43-yard field goal. Jonathan Taylor, 18-yard rush. Gunnar Helm, 1-yard pass from Cam Ward. Michael Pittman Jr., 21-yard pass from Daniel Jones. Jonathan Taylor, 80-yard rush. Josh Downs, 10-yard pass from Daniel Jones. Jonathan Taylor, 19-yard pass from Daniel Jones. Tyjae Spears, 3-yard rush. Leaders for the Colts, Daniel Jones, 21-29, 3 touchdowns, 272 yards. Jonathan Taylor, 12 carries, 153 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Michael Pittman Jr., 8 catches, 95 yards, and a touchdown. DeForest Buckner with 1 sack, and leading sacker was the tackler for the Colts was Jermaine Pratt with 8 tackles and 3 solo ones. For the Colts, they play Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers. For the Titans, their next game is against the Chargers. Next game that I got right and wrong is Packers-Steelers, which I got right picking the Packers. Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers fall short in quarterbacks reunion with Packers as Love leads 35-25 win. Jordan Love spent 3 years absorbing what he could from Aaron Rodgers: footwork, cadence, throwing motion, film study. The list of things Love gleaned from his mentor goes on and on. Every last item invaluable in Love's development. Packers got the win here in a very tough environment in Pittsburgh. CM Rodgers did not get the win. There's the possibility he might be bitching on McAfee pretty soon down the road. I don't know yet. But this was a win that the Packers needed. Everybody looked good. Josh Jacobs, Tucker Kraft, Romeo Doubs, Jordan Love looked very, very well in this game. Now they are trying to do everything in their power to, even though with that tie, they still do have a chance of trying to get their division. But I don't see it occurring. I still see the Detroit Lions winning that division and winning and going to a playoffs. That is the thing here. Now, Green Bay has, see how their schedule is, I think they will make a wild card. Possibility they could be either as a 5 or a 6. But we're going to wait and see what occurs with them down the road. For the Steelers, this is their second straight loss right now. And for those who follow the Steel Twins and Chisel Adonis, the Steelers need to get a wide receiver. I don't know whom they're going to get in the deadline. I know they want Mike Tomlin fired. Not going to happen because he's got that long-term deal. But the Steelers need to think of something right now because your division and your door is slightly ajar right now due to the fact that the Ravens have gotten back Lamar Jackson from injury. The Bengals, I don't know. Because I thought after they beat them, it could have been somewhat salvageable. Now it's not. Now you have to deal with a very, very good Indianapolis Colts team. Can you try to beat them? I don't know if they will, because that is going to be very, very tough to see what they can do here. But a breakdown out of this game. Chris Boswell, 56-yard field goal. Tucker Kraft, 16-yard pass from Jordan Love. Chris Boswell, 50-yard field goal. Chris Boswell, 48-yard field goal. DK Metcalf, 2-yard pass from Aaron Rodgers. Savion Williams, 8-yard pass from Jordan Love. Chris Boswell, 56-yard field goal. Josh Jacobs, 3-yard rush. Jordan Love passed to Romeo Doubs for 2-point conversion successful. Tucker Kraft, 24-yard pass from Jordan Love. Brandon McManus, 28-yard field goal. Brandon McManus, 35-yard field goal. Roman Wilson, 21-yard pass from Aaron Rodgers, 2-point conversion failed. Leaders for the Packers, Jordan Love, 29-37, 3 touchdowns, 360 yards. Leading rusher was Emmanuel Wilson with 11 carries, 61 yards. Tucker Kraft, 7 catches, 143 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Leading sacker for the Packers was Rashawn Gray with 2 sacks. And leading tackler for the Packers was Xavier McKinney with 6 solo tackles and 7 tackles. For the Packers, they play on Sunday against the Carolina Panthers. For the Steelers, they play against the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday. And the last game that I got right in the right and wrong is Chiefs Commanders, which I got right picking the Chiefs. I'm glad the Chiefs won, but having to see Taylor Swift on my screen, insert Krusty the Crown Cologne. I do not like when that woman is on while I'm trying to watch football. Travis, when you do retire, please, I don't want to see her again in whatever your bachelor party is. Jason, if you're listening, show and tell or Club Risque. But we'll wait and see when you get there. Mahomes Hunt lead Chiefs to dominant 28-7 win over Commanders. Their 9th straight win in the series. Chiefs coach Andy Reid called the first half of Monday night's game against Washington downright weird, full of turnovers and failed 4th down conversion, and so much loudly executed by both teams that he was left scratching his head. Literally the first half, you were scratching your head because Mahomes threw an interception off a deflection. Mariota threw an interception off a deflection. And the way it was going, you would have thought almost that Washington was trying to make a comeback and almost trying to make an effort, but it didn't. With Zach Ertz's failed fourth down conversion, which he was short, he did not get. But the Chiefs dominated this game with Mahomes, with Travis Kelce, with Kareem Hunt, with Rashid Rice and Xavier Worthy, all them doing their part to try to stay pace with their division and try to get first place, because now the Chiefs have a tough one, which is going to Buffalo, taking on Josh Allen and the Bills. As for Washington, yeah, they tried to give it a good old college try, but it didn't matter and it didn't work. They have now lost 2 straight. And with the division with the NFC East, the Eagles have already run away with that division. And I think we will have the first back-to-back winner since 2003-04. The Eagles will get this one. Now, as for Washington, I think they are on their bye this week, or do they play? No, Washington has plays on Thursday night, Sunday Night Football against the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I don't know if Jaden Daniels is going to be available for that game or not. If he is, you may have somewhat of a chance against the Seahawks. But if not, going into Seattle, which is not very good, you could lose that game. So there is the possibility even with Jaden there. But if not, I still don't think that they will beat Seattle this Sunday. But a breakdown out of this game. Kareem Hunt, 1-yard rush. Terry McLaurin, 11-yard pass from Marcus Mariota. Kareem Hunt, 2-yard pass from Patrick Mahomes. Travis Kelce, 10-yard pass from Patrick Mahomes. Rashid Rice, 18-yard pass from Patrick Mahomes. Leaders for the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, 25-34, 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, 299 yards. Isaiah Pacheco, 12 carries for 58 yards. Travis Kelce, 6 catches, 1 for 99 yards and a touchdown. Leading sacker for the Chiefs was Mike Dana with 1 sack. Leading tackler was, once my phone ever decides to act right, Shamari Connor with 10 tackles and 5 solo ones. For the Chiefs, they play against the Bills this Sunday. And as for the Commanders, they play Sunday against the Seattle Seahawks. All righty, now we're going to go into my next segment, which is my top 10 for this month of October. So I'm going to break it down right now. Number 10 starting is the LA Chargers right now, getting off of their snide and winning games, going back to what they're going with Herbert using his legs, going with Kamani Vidal, Ladd McConkey, Quentin Johnston, and Arondé Gadsden the second. And the defense getting 2. Carson Wentz. Now, can they keep this consistency up to try to, A, win their division and make the playoffs? Because you got to be consistent. If not, it's going back to charging again. Number 9, the Seattle Seahawks. Even though the Seahawks did not play, they were on their bye week. Seattle did look very, very good against the Houston Texans. Now coming off of their bye, they have the Washington Commanders taking on either Jaden Daniels or Marcus Mariota to see what this defense can do and to see if Smith and Jigba, who's been a very good gen, having a 100-yard game, same with see if Kenneth Walker III and Zach Charbonnet can get the thing done. But we'll wait and see what occurs with the Seattle Seahawks down the road. Number 8, the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are looking like what they once were, back to the form of beating opponents, back to the ball of going to Kareem Hunt, Isaiah Pacheco, Rashid Rice, Travis Kelce, and Xavier Worthy, and the defense doing its job. Now they have a tough one to go against the Buffalo Bills, in which a game for both of these two teams to see which one could try to get first place back in their division for that fight. Because if one takes a loss, you're going to have a huge hole to get out of the climb to fight for your division, either against the Patriots for the Bills, for the Chiefs, either against the Chargers or the Broncos. Number 7, the LA Rams. Even though they were on a bye, they did dominate in that game against the Jacksonville Jaguars in the UK, getting it done with Stafford, Devontae Adams. They probably will get Puka Nacua back when they play against the New Orleans Saints, and Kyron Williams and Verse with their defense, seeing what they can do to try to keep at least in pace to keep first place in the division after the San Francisco 49ers took a loss to the Houston Texans, to see if they can keep with their division and to make that playoff push, which they will. Number 6, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers doing it without Mike Evans. They're going to be without him for a while. He may be back for a wild card or a divisional. Doing it with their defense, which the defense got the job done against the New Orleans Saints. And they also still have Baker going to Emeka. They eventually will get Bucky Irving back. You'll get Rashad Rice. You'll get Rashad White. You'll also get Chris Godwin, Emeka, Antez Johnson, and even a little bit of Sterling Shepard to help them to make that playoff push and to see them go further in the playoffs. Tied for 5th place are the Detroit Lions and the Buffalo Bills. For the Lions first, they have been playing outstanding football, even though they did take an ugly loss to the Chiefs. They bounced back from that loss on Monday Night Football and absorbed it with their defense, dominating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, with Jared Goff putting up MVP performances, going with Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, and Jamison Williams, and that defense doing its job with Hutchinson and Anceloni and Brian Branch. For the Buffalo Bills, them coming back to win, which they needed very badly right now, even though New England won, New England still holds sole possession of first place right now. Josh Allen getting the job done, going back to Bills football, dominating over the Carolina Panthers with his legs, with his arm, going Shakir, Cook, and Coleman. But I would say for the Bills, when the trade deadline comes, make a move to try to get Jacoby Myers because he wants to get out. See what you can do to make that push. Number 4, the New England Patriots. Patriots have been playing outstanding football. Yes, they have been beating very, very bad teams. The only one good team they have beaten has been the Buffalo Bills. They do play another bad team, which is the Atlanta Falcons. After that, they are going to get tested when they play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2 weeks. Now, if I were the Patriots, do not be thinking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You deal with Atlanta first, and then deal with Tampa. And then we're going to see what this New England Patriots team is made of, and we're going to see how Drake May does against another good team. Now, if he beats a good team, we'll be having a different conversation about Drake May. Number 3, the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles going back to what that was getting them winning their game with the running game with Saquon Barkley, even though they did not have A.J. Brown with the hamstring injury. I said it when I'm getting no A.J., no problem. They got the win when it was needed, going to Saquon Barkley, going back to his former self. Yes, even though he did suffer a groin injury, Saquon should be back on Monday Night Football in 2 weeks, so they play against the Green Bay Packers. Jalen Hurts looked very, very good, going to Dallas Goedert, Devontae Smith, and Dotson, and their defense did a very good job too. So this is a team that is A, going to win their division, B, make it back to the playoffs, C, I can see going to an NFC championship, and D, maybe going to a Super Bowl. I don't know who they're going to play. If it's them in Detroit, pending location, they may lose in Detroit. But if it stays in Philadelphia, they have another Super Bowl coming, and they have another victory. Tied for second place, the Denver Broncos and the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to go Denver first. Denver has been looking very, very good ever since losing to the Colts. They have been winning games in ways, getting signature win. They got that signature win over Philadelphia, which nobody expected. I didn't expect, maybe except for Josh Oak because he is a Denver Broncos fan. He expected it. But Denver has been doing very, very good with their offense, with their defense. Now, sometimes their offense starts off a little slow. Like with the Giants game, started off a little slow. With the Cowboys game, they threw that interception early on, but they bounced back and absorbed it and dominated that game to get that win. Now, Denver has to do right now, if they want to try to hold on to first place into their division, is you got to beat the Chiefs. You can get one victory over the Chiefs. You got your division. If you sweep them, you're very set. But you just got to do that. For the Green Bay Packers, I thought with that tie, it was going to fuck them pretty bad. But now with that tie, unfortunately, they cannot get first place. They can't yet unless Detroit loses another game. They won't see Detroit until Thanksgiving. Now, if the Packers can keep this going with their offense, with Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, Tucker Kraft, Romeo Doubs, and Heath, and the defense doing its thing, if Micah shows up, because Micah has been doing pretty good. But when it comes to the good teams, he has to show up, and we're going to wait and see if he does decide to show up. Number 1 is the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts have been playing outstanding football. Their only lone loss was to the Rams, but they're getting it done with Jonathan Taylor, and I think still comeback player of the year. Daniel Jones, Indiana Jones, Danny Dimes, whatever you want to call him, has not hit that boulder just yet. He's doing everything in his power to win games, helping the Colts get right there. And shout out to Shane Steichen, too. I really thought he was going to get fired this year, but with this right now, he has saved his job. Now, I just got to see how the Colts will do when they make it to the playoffs. Will they be a first-round exit? Will they be a divisional round exit? Or maybe long shot they get to an AFC championship. But we're going to wait and see what happens down the road with the Colts. All righty, our next segment is Trick or Treat / grades. So what that is I'm going to break down all the teams, basically giving grades to see how they did through A through F like you're in school. So we're going to start that right now. So I'm pulling this up. I don't need that no more. Okay, I don't know why my computer is deciding to act up. Give me a second here. Unless the NFL website is going down. Like, whatever. All right, whatever. Let's do this. Because my computer decided to act a fool right now. Okay, here we go. I want it for the league. Here we go. All right, so we're going to start off with the first team, good, great, and trick or treat. First thing I'm going to do with the Colts, I'm going to give them an A minus. If they would have beat the Rams, I would have gone A plus. I'm going to go an A minus here because the Colts have been playing outstanding football. Daniel Jones is having himself a renaissance season, almost getting the degree for comeback player of the year. They're doing very, very well. Jonathan Taylor, who has always been a monster and a stud, doing good with the defense with DeForest Buckner and them going to Joshua Downs, Pierce, and Pittman. So I'm going to give an A minus to the Indianapolis Colts. Out of trick or treat, I'm going to go both. Trick because I did not see the Colts being this good. I don't think anybody seen the Colts being this good. I don't even think Pat McAfee saw them being this good. Nobody did. So I got tricked here. A treat is I love watching them and see how they've been doing this. They're doing everything good. For the Green Bay Packers, even though with that tie and that draw, they have absorbed it, I'm going to go with A. I'll go with A. They've been doing A work here. They've been doing good. I'm going to give them an A. Micah Parsons hasn't been a problem. He's been stepping up in games. Their only one lone loss was to Cleveland. They have that one tie. That's about it. But they're still getting the job done with their offense, with their defense, doing everything in their power to try to get that push, to try to go to get their division. But doing very well. So I'm going to give them an A here. Next is, and also I'm going to go a treat because I didn't get tricked. I knew Green Bay was going to have a good season. Record-wise, I didn't expect to be this wide. So obviously, I got tricked on that part, but they're doing everything they can. New England Patriots, 6-2. I'm going to go a B here. I'm going to go a B. Drake May has been playing good football, and Mike Vrabel is doing a good job coaching the Patriots. It's just the teams they've beaten have been lesser opponents. Yes, they have beaten the Bills. That's their only one good win that they have had so far. Until they can beat good teams, and Drake May is inconsistent in beating good teams, I can trade that up a little bit going to an A. But as of this moment, I'm going to go a B for the New England Patriots. Trick or treat, I'm going to go both. Trick because I didn't expect the Patriots to have a good record at 6-2. Treat because Mike Vrabel is a damn good coach, and he knows what he is doing with that defense. So we're going to wait and see what happens later on down the road for the New England Patriots. For the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm going to go A plus here. A plus. No, not A plus. I'll go A minus too. I'll go A minus. I'm going to go A minus. Because they have – Philadelphia was always going to be good regardless. They always do good. Saquon Barkley is now getting back on track. They're doing everything in their power to win games. Now they're on their bye week. They should get A.J. Brown back, and they should get Saquon Barkley back, and literally to try to make that Super Bowl push, because this is a team that I can see going to the Super Bowl, and I wouldn't be shocked that does repeat at all. So I'm going to go with the Eagles giving an A plus, an A minus. Trick or treat, no trick. I was treated. The Eagles are a treat to watch every time on Sunday, regardless of who the players are. They always did a good thing here. So that was a treat. Denver Broncos, I'm going to give them same category. I'm going to give Philadelphia, like I said, A minus here, because Bo Nix has been playing outstanding football with R.J. Harvey, Dobbins, Cortland Sutton. The defense doing its job. Unfortunately, they do have a setback with Patrick Surtain being injured. I think they could try to rise above that setback and see what they can do to see if they could try to make a move in the deadline to get someone. But we'll wait and see what occurs for the Broncos. Now, for the Broncos, as I said, if they can beat the Chiefs and get a split, they would be good and get their division. But if they happen to get swept by them, still make playoffs, but they're probably going to be a little lower in the wild card. We'll wait and see what occurs with the Broncos. I'm going to go both trick or treat because I didn't expect Denver to have a good record at 6-2. Treat because their defense has been very, very good, and Sean Payton is also a very good coach, so I'm going to go there. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I'll go A. I'll go A here. One is I didn't expect Tampa to have this very good record, which I did expect. I expect Tampa to have a good record. It's just right now that Baker literally has been turning chicken shit into chicken salad. Literally, even without the weapons he has, even though he has no Bucky Irving, he has no Mike Evans, he has Chris Godwin was out, he has Emeka, he has Tez Johnson, he has Sterling Shepard, Kate Otten. The defense getting its job done. Now, I just got to see how this team is going to do come playoff time, how far they're going to go. Because if you go playoffs, Mike Evans should be back, and then you should have him for the wild card or the divisional. Now, I don't know NFC Championship yet. We got to wait and see how far this Buccaneers team does. So I'm going to go an A here. Seattle Seahawks at 5-2. I'll go B plus. I'll go B plus here. Seattle does a little bit in the middle. It's an okay team. Jackson Smith and Jigba's having a good year. Same with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. The defense is doing its job. I just got to see how Sam Darnold does in the playoffs, because last year in the playoffs, he literally shit the bed. So I got to really see how he does this year in the playoffs. I forgot. Tampa, it was a treat. I take that back. It's been a treat watching those guys. It's not a trick. They have a good record. They're still doing the same thing. And Baker's been putting up good numbers, so it was a treat. Seattle, I'm going to go trick and treat because I didn't expect Seattle to have a good record at 5-2. I really didn't think Darnold was going to be all that good. Treat, defense, and Smith and Jigba is a great thing to watch. So they're doing good with that. So I'm going to go treat there. Detroit, I'm going to go A plus. I'm also going to go A plus with the Detroit Lions. The Lions have been doing their thing last year. This is the Shanes of last year. No injuries. Aiden Hutchinson being back. Anceloni, they're looking good. Brian Branch. Jahmyr Gibbs is looking good. So is David Montgomery and Jared Goff, and putting up MVP numbers, going with Sam Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Jamison Williams. So the Detroit Lions doing their thing as usual. A plus work as always. Dan Campbell, damn good head coach, everything. Not a trick. Treat to always watch these guys with that offense and their defense. So it's a treat. Next is the Los Angeles Rams. I'll go A. Rams have been doing good with Matthew Stafford. I thought this was going to be Stafford last year, and I thought Stafford was going to go a little bit on the decline here. He hasn't. Puka Nacua is still doing his thing. Devontae Adams is doing his thing. Same with Tutu Atwell and Tyler Higbee. The defense getting there. I still think the Rams defense is a bend-don't-break defense, but versus doing his thing. But I'm going to go to the Rams. Damn fine work as always. A work. So I'm going to go to a treat. Didn't get tricked by the Rams. Rams have a good offense. Defense still a little bit of a bend don't break, but treat to watch. Los Angeles Chargers. I am going to say a C overall, due to the fact that, yeah, they did go 3-0. But then after that 3-0, they started charging games. Now they did get a win, which was very much needed. But with them, I'm going to give them a C right now. They've got to improve. They've got to show me some consistency right now. Unless I see that consistency and they don't Charger games, then I can go a little bit more further into this. Trick or treated on this one. I'm going to say jury is out on this one because it was a treat when they were at 3-0. But then I got tricked when they got back to charging. So right now the jury is still out on that one. Next one we have is the Chiefs. I'm going to go a B minus here. The Chiefs are getting back to what they once were right now. Early on, they were struggling. They were below 500 a little bit. They were hard trying to win games and losing games that they shouldn't be losing, i.e. to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They shouldn't have lost. But right now, they're starting to come back around to what they once were right now with their offense, with Mahomes, with Pacheco, with Kareem Hunt, Travis Kelce, Xavier Worthen, Rashid Rice, and Chris Jones in that defense. So they're starting to get back to what they once were. I'm going to say another, jury is still out on because I did get tricked thinking that they were going to have a bad record. Now they're starting to come back, so a little bit of a treat. So jury is out on that one. San Francisco 49ers. I'm going to go with C here also as well because in the beginning when Purdy went down, Mac Jones was playing outstanding football. Then with the injuries to Pearsall, Jawan Jennings, George Kittle, he was making chicken shit out of chicken salad, doing his best, but unfortunately suffering that loss to the Texans. Don't know where to go right now, a little bit on the fence with the 49ers. So we're going to wait and see a little bit down the road. Had they beat the Texans, I probably would have gone a little bit more of a B. But right now, I'm a little bit on a C right now. So we're going to wait and see. Trick or treated here. I'm going to say treat because it was with Mac Jones and he was doing very good. Even though with that loss, I can't say I got tricked. But in this instance, I'm going to say a treat. Trick would have been as if they would have had an outstanding record with them. But I'm going to say a little bit of a treat. Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to go a C here, another C. Because I don't know what I'm getting out of Pittsburgh at time to time. First, they're doing good. Now you've lost 2 straight. And I don't know what to expect out the Steelers now. It's a little bit tough. I don't know what to think of right now. Trick or treat. I'm going to say jury is still out on that one because it was a treat watching them get these wins with Aaron Rodgers doing everything. Then it went back to a trick. So I'm going to go on the fence on that one. Jury is still out. Chicago Bears. Another one here. They did lose one. If they would have beat Baltimore, I would have gone a B. But in this instance, I am going to go a C here too. The Bears' little problem is clock management. They really need to work on that. Back under Brent Eberflus, they had that problem. But they really need to work on this right now because down the road, if this happens again when it comes to crucial games that you cannot manage your clock management, it's going to eliminate you from wild card contention. So I am going to go a C here. Trick or treat. I'm going to go trick because I didn't expect them to have a good record. Yeah, they're above 500 with 4-3. So I'm going to go trick. I'm not treated. If it would have been also would have been trick, they had been a record too. But I'm going to go a trick. Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going to go a D here, and I'm being very generous here. Because if they would have lost that game against the Chiefs and they would have been on a 3-game losing streak, then I would have gone an F. But right now, I am going to go to a D because there's a lot of shit that needs to get worked on in Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence, for one. The defense, another. Because this is a team that could not build off of that win over the Chiefs. Now you've lost 2 straight. And now I think you don't play again until – who is the Jags' next opponent? I'm going to look that up right now. Jacksonville Jaguars next opponent. I know they were on a bye. I don't know if they play this. Their next game is against the Raiders. So it's a bad team. It's a game you need to win. And we're going to wait and see what occurs with the Jags. Because right now, yes, they are in second place in their division. And they have a tough one to go over against the Colts. But in this, I'm going to go with D. Trick or treat. I'm going to go trick here because I thought after that when they beat the Chiefs, buying right into it, shit the bed as usual. So I got tricked as usual. So I'm going to go with D here. Oh, and Tony Khan, if you are listening, and I'm going to keep repeating this until full gear, do not put the fucking belt on Mercedes Moné against Chris Statlander or give her a tag title. Do not, and I mean that. I swear to God, if you do, we will riot. I'm giving you that heads up right now if you listen to this. And I am going to keep repeating this until full gear. Also, with those tag belts, if the finals are at full gear, do not mind. First off, I want it to be tie, Jay. Second, unfortunately, I don't think Jamie and Queen are going to make it past first round because I think Tekla is going to interfere. Or Sisters of Sin, I don't mind for my friend Steve. So I'll take that one. I would love to see Jamie and him advance. Also, Tony and Mina to advance. But we'll wait and see. Moving back to football. Carolina Panthers. If they would have beat the Bills, I would have gone C. Even though Andy Dalton was there, and I'm going a little overall. They are at 500. I'm going to go C minus. C minus. Carolina has been playing good football with Bryce Young at home. But unfortunately, there was a setback. He was injured. He did not play against the Bills. And Carolina does have the defense. The defense has been helping them. Rico Dowdle's been helping them. Bryce Young's been playing outstanding football. But in this instance, I'm going to say a C minus for now. Now, trick or treat for this one, I'm going to say a trick because I didn't expect Carolina to be above 500, and I didn't expect them to have a good record. Next one we have is the Dallas Cowboys. Going to be awfully generous here because this is my team. I would say F. I'm going to go D minus because the offense is doing good and it's ranked number 1. Dak is putting up MVP numbers, even though he didn't against the Broncos, which I knew he was not because we always struggle against the Denver Broncos, and it's not been that good. Dak did throw 2 interceptions, and he did not have the best game. The defense is the problem here that needs to get fixed. So out of that one, I am going to go a D minus. Trick or treat it. The offense I knew was never the issue. So with this one, his jury is still out on this one. Houston Texans. I'm also going to give a D here too because C.J. Stroud has regressed. He hasn't looked good. Yes, they did get the win over the 49ers. It does help a little bit. So I'm going to say a D. If they would have lost that game, I would have said F. But in this one, I'm going to go a D here because there's a lot of work that needs to be done. C.J. Stroud needs to get a lot of work done. Also, the defense needs a lot of work done. So I am going to go a D here. Trick or treat it here. I'm going to go trick because I didn't expect the Texans to be below 500. Atlanta Falcons lost 2 straight. Did not build off of that win against the Bills. Can be bipolar at times. I'm going to go F. And here's my reason why I'm going with an F. Because after beating Buffalo, you should have built off of that win and beat the 49ers, which you did not. Then you should have beat a very, very bad Miami Dolphins team, which you got smoked by. And even with Michael Penix or Kirk Cousins, it wouldn't have mattered. I thought they would have got that win there, but no. Atlanta Falcons are proving to me, yet again, being bipolar as fuck, and yet again, keeping Raheem Morris. Atlanta should have fired his ass, and I'm hoping that they do fire his ass next year because he is on my hot seat of coaches. So for this, I am giving an F. Minnesota Vikings. Carson Wentz did go down. JJ did get injured. I'm going to go a D here with the Minnesota Vikings because JJ McCarthy was injured. Carson Wentz at the time was keeping them in games. But then after losing to the Eagles, everybody found the blueprint how to beat him. Then he got injured. He's not going to retire. So right now I'm going to give this a D because O'Connell is a good coach. Now I don't know how he's going to do with Zach Brosmer or if J.J. McCarthy is going to be back when they play Detroit on Sunday. So we're going to wait and see what occurs there. Trick or treated here. I was treated that they had a good record. So right now I'm going to call jury is still out on this one. Atlanta Falcons, I didn't get tricked or treated because I didn't think they would do good. So that don't need anything there. So with that one. Cincinnati Bengals. I would have said C after that if they would have beat the Jets. But now I'm going to go D. And I'm being very generous on this right here. After that game on Thursday night, you see flashes of Joe Flacco thinking that the Bengals season could get salvaged. Losing to the winless Jets, now we're back to square one. And we don't know if this can get salvaged or not. So we're going to wait and see here. Trick or treated here. I would have said treat, but if due to Flacco, but now that loss, I'm going to say jury is still out right now on that one. Next we have is the Washington Commanders. Suffered 2 losses to Dallas, one to Dallas, and then last night, even though Jaden Daniels was out, Marcus Mariota was in. I'm going to be very generous here. I'm going to go a D- because there's a lot of things that Washington needs to do right now. Jaden has regressed even before he got injured again. Hasn't been looking good. I don't know if he's going to play against Seattle this Sunday. I know they don't have their running back. I know that it's very tough right now. The defense has not been looking good here. But for this, I am going to go a D- here. Because I said in the beginning, I was very skeptical about this team. They are below 500. And I don't know if I'm going to be saying at the end of the season, same old fucking Washington or not. So we're going to wait and see what occurs here. Tricked or treated. I'm going to go jury is still out on that right now. Jury is still out on that. Because I don't know what to think on this right now. Because it was a treat when they had their winning record. But now it's more likely, I don't know what's going on with them. Las Vegas Raiders, F. I knew that this was not going to be a good season. Geno Smith is shit. He sucks ass. And literally, I don't know what Pete Carroll saw in him. I know in Seattle he was there, but I don't see it here. And literally, that whole team is in a fire sale. Jacoby Myers, I hope you go to Buffalo, bro, to get started there. Max Crosby, ask for a trade wherever you go, because this is a team that is going nowhere. And the only thing I will give Las Vegas is very good destination for tourists. Very good for gambling and for WrestleMania, which I will be there for that one, my final one that you have in the U.S., and also for WrestleCon. And for the people at WrestleCon, if you listen to this podcast for guests, I will give you who I want. Anna J, Ty J, Harley Cameron, and Chris Statlander too. Next one we have is the Baltimore Ravens. It was looking towards an F when it was with Lamar when he went down. I'm going to give this a D- also because they did get the win when it was needed to try to keep pace in their division to see what they can salvage. You will get Lamar Jackson back this Thursday when you play against the Dolphins in a game that you need to win, because literally the Ravens are literally going to have to run the table here just to get into the playoff and just to possibly get their division. So with this right here, I'm going to go a D-. Trick or treated here, I'm going to go jury is still out, because if Lamar was still here and this record was bad, then I would have got tricked, because I didn't think it would be this bad. But right now, it's can you try to salvage this? Arizona Cardinals, I'm going to go an F, because literally this is regardless of Kyler or even Jacoby Brissett. This is a team that does not use Marvin Harrison the right way. They keep going to Trey McBride. Nothing against McBride's a very good tight end. It's just they keep going to him constantly. And then it's going to catch on to teams that, okay, you know you're not going to go to Marvin. You're going to go to McBride. And it's going to keep getting there to the point. And I already thought that Rich Gannon was going to get fired. I do see him possibly getting fired by the end of this season. Trick or treated with this. Nothing that I can say here, because I knew Arizona was not going to be that good, so I'm not being tricked. Now, if Arizona would have had a good record and would have kept it going, then I would have been treated and / tricked. Cleveland Browns, another F, because in the beginning, you had Joe Flacco. He wasn't the answer, and you traded him off to Cincinnati. Dylan Gabriel, you think is your answer. He got that one win against Miami, which Miami is not that good to begin with anyway. Myles Garrett is a good thing to watch. I would like to see him get traded to a better team and play for a contender. Unfortunately, I hate to see that his years are going to be wilted away in Cleveland, even though he had his best 5-sack performance against the New England Patriots. So for this one, I'm going to say F for the Cleveland Browns. Trick or treated, nothing there, because I knew Cleveland wasn't going to be that good. So there's nothing even to say there with that. Miami Dolphins, I'm being generous with y'all too. I'm going to give you a D-. Because if y'all would have lost Atlanta, I was already preparing for an F. But with this, I'm giving you a D-. Because literally, I know Tyreek Hill is out for the season. He won't be – I don't know if he's going to be in Miami next year. I don't know if he's going to get traded. Same thing with Devin Akane. I don't know if he's going to get traded by the deadline too. Because I still think the Dolphins are going to be sellers in the trade deadline. And this is going to be a full rebuild for next year, with McDaniels possibly getting fired. With this game just saved his job barely at the moment. Barely. But we're going to wait and see what occurs with them. So I am going to give an F here. Trick or treated. I'm going to say trick, because I really didn't expect Tua to regress, and I didn't expect that to happen. So I'm going to say a trick. The New York Giants. I would give an F, but I am going to be generous here too. D-. Due to the fact with Jackson Dart, there is something there with Jackson Dart until you benched Russ. You had something in Cam Scattaboo, but unfortunately he's injured, and I don't think he's going to be back this season. So we're going to wait and see what we see with him back next year. Jackson Dart is going to take some time. He is a rookie, and it's going to take some time when he has a full season. Next year, we're going to see how he does. He did get that one signature win against the Eagles, but then after what happened this week, it was proving that that was a fluke when the Eagles decimated them. So out of this, like I said, me being generous, I'm giving a D- to the New York Giants. Trick or treat it. If they would have got above 500 and if they would have beat the Broncos and the Eagles, I would have said treat it. But for this, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say jury's still out because I know what I was expecting out of the New York Giants. New York Jets. Regardless of the win, I'm still giving an F. I'm still giving an F regardless. Yeah, they did get their first win, but overall, after what I've seen, I'm still giving an F because I'm glad that Aaron Glenn got his win. I'm glad for that the brother did get a win, but it's just everything needs to get blown up with that team, defense, offense, everything, because the only two good players you have is Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. And I hope Garrett Wilson does demand a trade, and same with Breece Hall too. But that's about it. I'm going to give this an F here. Trick or treated, nothing there because I really didn't expect anything out of the Jets this year, to be honest with you. So I'm going to say nothing there. Tennessee Titans, I got to give an F here too because I knew this was going to be a rebuild. They are on the clock. Cam Ward is just starting, and we're going to see how he does next year, how he does when he gets some weapons, and see how they do in the draft. Same with the defense. I do think that Tony Pollard is still going to get traded, and he's going to go to the Chiefs. So we'll wait and see. Trick or treated with them. I really didn't expect much out of the Titans, to be honest with you, so there's nothing there. Next is the New Orleans Saints. Hey, Ron, you have me listening to this. I'm sorry, bro. I got to give an F to them. I knew that this was going to be that Kellen Moore was in a rebuild. They have no quarterback. I don't know if it's going to be Spencer Rattler or Tyler Show next this Sunday against the Rams. Still have Alvin Kamara. Still have Chris Olave. Defense okay with Kool-Aid, but if I were the Saints, I would try to think about trading off Chris Olave and Alvin Kamara. See what you can do. Trick or treat it. I'm going to say trick because I really didn't expect the Saints record to be this bad. I thought maybe at least something here, but no, I really didn't expect it to be this bad. All right, next and our final segment is playoffs. What that means is whatever your team is, I'll analyze the ones that I think will make the playoffs. If they don't, you will hear this. Let's just all hope we all win a game, Jim. But we're now in our playoff segment, which I will decide which teams will make the playoffs and which ones won't. The only ones I know will not make the playoffs will be where I'm stopping it off at is the Jets, the Titans, and the Saints. They are not making playoffs. Give me one second. Okay. I knew that was coming. But let's start the first one. The obvious one. Oh, I think the Colts are making the. Let's see the Colts remaining schedule. They are 7-1. There we go. Colts schedule. Okay. So they are 7-1. They're playing against the Steelers. I think you got to win there. You're 8-1. Against the Falcons, you're 9-1. Against the Chiefs, I'm going to say jury is still out on that one, and I am on the fence right now. Against the Texans, you should get a win. You would be either 9-1 or 10-1 or something and 2. Against the Jags, you will get a win. In Seattle, I think you may take a loss here in a humbling. Against the 49ers, a win. Against the Jags, again, against the win. They will make the playoffs. The Green Bay Packers' next remaining games, we're going to check their schedule. Even with that tie, I think they still will get in, but we're going to go through their schedule. Against the Panthers, you have a win. At home on Monday Night Football against Philadelphia in Lambeau, I'm going to say a loss because the Eagles know how to contain Micah Parsons. I'm going to say a loss there against the Giants. They rebound. So you're looking at 6. So you're going to be 6-2-1. You'll be 7-2-1 against the Giants. You're going to be 8-2-1 against the Vikings. I'm going to say 8-3-1 against Detroit. Against the Bears, you will be 9-3-1. Oh, against Denver, you're going to be 9-4-1. Against the Bears again, you'll be 10-4-1. Yeah, they will get in the playoffs. They will get in. Next one we have is the New England Patriots. We're going to see their schedule. They are 6-2. They play the Falcons. They're going to be 7-2. Against the Bucs in Tampa, unfortunately, I think that will be a loss. They're going to be 7-3. Against the Jets, 8-3. Against the Bengals, I had this as a loss previously with Joe Burrow, but now I'm going to say 9-3 because I don't know what I'm getting out of that. Against the Giants, 10-3. I think they may take a loss to the Bills. They're going to be 10-4. Against Baltimore, they're going to probably be 10-5. You'll be 11. Yeah, they are going to make the playoffs. They will make the playoffs. For the Eagles, I'm going to go through their schedule, or if they're going to make the playoffs. You have the Packers on your bye week. You get a win there. You're going to be 7-2. Against Detroit, I'm going to say jury is still out on that one. Jury is still out. Against us, that's a win. I don't see us pulling a fuck you game. Against the Bears, that's a win. Against the Chargers, that's a win, barring the Chargers don't. I can see the Chargers charging that. Against the Raiders, a win. Against the Commanders, a win. I think Buffalo, they're going to lose, and then they're going to beat Washington at the end of the season. They will make the playoffs. The Denver Broncos schedule, they are 6-2 as well. Against the Texans, they're going to win that one. Against the Raiders, they're going to win that one. The first meeting with the Chiefs, they will win at home. They will be 9-2. Against the Commanders, they will win. They will be 10-2. Against the Raiders, 11-2. Against the Packers, 12-2. Against the Jags, 13-2. At KC, I think we'll get humbled. That's going to be 13-3. And then they should beat the Chargers. They will make the playoffs. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are what right now? Bucks are what? I'm in their stand. Oh, the Bucks are 6-2. So for Tampa, they are going to be 7-2 against the Patriots after the bye week. They play against the Bills. I hate to say that's going to be a loss. They're going to be 7-3. Against the Rams in LA, I'm going to say a loss there. You're 7-4. You will bounce back against the Cardinals. You will be 8-4. You will beat the Saints 9-4. You will beat Atlanta 10-4. You will beat Carolina 11-4. Beat the Dolphins 12-4. They will win. They're going to be in the playoffs. Seattle Seahawks are also there 5-2. They play against the Commanders. You're going to be 6-2. Against Arizona, you will be 7-2. Against the Rams, you're going to be 7-3. Against the Titans, 8-3. Against Minnesota, 9-3. Against the Falcons, 10-3. I'm going to say they pull an upset off. They're going to be 11-3. Against the Rams at home, they're going to be 12. So they will make the playoffs as well. Buffalo, so far we haven't hit the button yet. Buffalo is 5-2. So they play against the Chiefs at home. They should get the win there, 6-2. Beat Miami 7-2. Beat Tampa 8-2. Beat Houston 9-2. Definitely beating the Steelers 10-2. Beating the Bengals 11-2. They do get their revenge on New England. I'm going to say 11-3. Beat Cleveland 11-4. Beat the Eagles 11. They're going to make the playoffs. So they're making the playoffs. Next is Detroit. Against the Vikings, that is a win. Detroit's record is 5-2. You have a win there against the Vikings. Beating Washington 7-2. Philly, jury is still out on. Beating the Giants, yes. Beating the Packers, getting their revenge, yes. Beating us, definitely. Beating the Rams, yeah. I'm going to say yes there. Because I don't think that defense can stop those receivers. Beating the Steelers, yes. Beating the Vikings, and then beating the Bears. They will be in the playoffs. The LA Rams. The Rams are, I think, 5-2 is also. The Rams are 5-2. Beating the Saints, they're going to be 6-2. They get their revenge against the 49ers. I'm going to say 7-2. Against Seattle, 8-2. Against the Bucks, I'm going to say 8-3. 9-3 against Carolina. 10-3 against the Cardinals. 10-4 against the Lions. 10-5 at Seattle. 11-5. So they're going to be 12-5, making the playoffs. Next one we have is the LA Chargers. They are 5-3. Against the Titans, 6-3. Against the Steelers, 7-3. Against the Jags, 8-3. Against the Raiders, 9-3. Against the Eagles, 9-4. At the Chiefs, 9-5. Us, I'm going to say a win for the moment. There's the possibility they could charger that game. So I'm going to say 10 at the moment, 11. And the last game against the Broncos, they probably get a loss, but they will squeak by in the playoffs. Kansas City Chiefs, 5-3. Break down to their record. Against the Bills, they're going to be 5-4. Against the Broncos, 5-5. Colts jury is still out. Against us is a win. So that would be at least maybe 5-6 or 6-6. Against the Texans, a win. Against the Chargers, a win. Against the Titans, a win. I will say they split with Denver. And then against the Raiders, they get a win. They get in, squeak by. San Francisco 49ers are 5-3. Against the Giants, 6-3. Against the Rams, 6-4. Against the Cardinals, 7-4. Against the Panthers, 8-4. Against the Browns, 9-4. Against the Titans, 10-4. Against the Colts, 10-5. Against the Bears, 11-5. Against Seattle, I'm going to say 11-6. They still get in. Pittsburgh Steelers are 4-3. So far, I haven't hit the button yet. Against the Colts, 4-4. Against the Chargers, 4-5. Against the Bengals, so we said 4-4, 4-5. I'm going to say 5-5. Against the Bears, 5-6. I'm going to say against the Bills, 5-7. At Baltimore, 5-8. 6-8 against the Dolphins. Yeah, they're not making playoffs. I jinxed myself. Okay, next one. Chicago Bears. Their record is 4-3. Against the Bengals, 5-3. Against the Giants, 6-3. Against the Vikings, I'm going to say 7-3. Against the Steelers, 8-3. Against the Eagles, 8-4. Against the Packers, 8-5. 9-5 against the Browns. 9-6 against the Packers. 9-7 against the San Francisco 49ers. 9-8. I'm going to say jury is still out. I'm not going to hit the button. So jury is still out on that one. Jury is still out. Jacksonville Jaguars, 4-3. Against the Raiders, 5-3. At Houston, I'm going to say 5-4. Against the Chargers, 5-5. Against the Cardinals, 6-5. 7-5 against the Titans. 7-6 against the Colts. 8-6 against the Jets. 8-7 against the Broncos. 8-8 against the Colts. 9-8. Jury is still out, so we got to wait and see. So that one's going to be a jury is still out on that one. Carolina Panthers are 4-4. I'm thinking by then Bryce should be back. 4-5 against Green Bay. 5-5 against the Saints. I'm going to say 6-5 against Atlanta. 6-6 against the 49ers. 6-7 against the Rams. 7-7 against the Saints. 7-8 against the Bucks. 7-9. They will not get in. Next one is the Dallas Cowboys, 3-4-1. Against the Cardinals, Kyler Murray always torches us. If it is Kyler, even if it's Jacoby Brissett, 3-5-1. 4-5-1 against the Raiders. 4-6-1 against Philly. 4-7-1 against the Chiefs. 4-8-1 against the Lions. 5-8-1 against Minnesota. 5-9-1, not making playoffs. Houston Texans, 3-4. Against Denver, 3-5. Against Jacksonville, I'm going to say 4-5. Against the Titans, 5-5. Against the Bills, 5-6. Against the Colts, 5-7. Against the Chiefs, 5-8. 6-8 against the Cards. 7-8 against the Raiders. At the Chargers, I'm going to say 7-9. They do not make the playoffs. Atlanta Falcons, 3-4. Against the Patriots, 3-5. Against the Colts, 3-6. Against the Panthers, 3-7. Against the Saints, 4-7. Against the Jets, 5-7. Against the Seahawks, 5-8. Against the Bucks, 5-9, not making playoffs. Next we have is the Minnesota Vikings at 3-4. Against the Lions, 3-5. Against Baltimore, 3-6. Against the Bears, 3-7. Against the Packers, 3-8. At Seattle, 3-9, not making playoffs. With the Bengals, with Joe Flacco, 3-5. Let's see. Against the Bears, 3-6. Against the Steelers, 3-7. Against the Patriots, 3-8. Against Baltimore, 3-9, not making playoffs. Washington Commanders, they are 3-5. Okay. Against the Seahawks, 3-6. Against Detroit, 3-7. Against Miami, 4-7. Against Denver, 4-8. Against the Vikings, 5-8. Against the Giants, 6-8. Against Philadelphia, 6-9, do not make playoffs. And I probably will be saying same old Washington. Las Vegas Raiders, 2-5. Against the Jags, 2-6. Against the Broncos, 2-7. Against Dallas, 2-8. Against Cleveland, 3-8. Against the Chargers, 3-9, not making playoffs. Baltimore Ravens, 2-5. Okay. Against the Dolphins, 3-5. Against Minnesota, 4-5. Against Cleveland, 5-5. Against the Jets, 6-5. Against Cincinnati, 7-5. Against the Steelers, I'm going to say 8-5. Against the Bengals, 9-5. Against the Patriots, 10-5. At Green Bay, 10-6. At Pittsburgh, 11-6. They will get into the playoffs. Next is the Arizona Cardinals at 2-5. Against Dallas, 3-5. Against Seattle, 3-6. Against the 49ers, 3-7. Against the Jags, 3-8. Against the Bucks, 3-9, not making playoffs. And next one is the Cleveland Browns, because the final one is going to go by the New York Giants, so we're almost there. 2-6. Against the Jets, 3-6. Against Baltimore, 3-7. Against the Raiders, 3-8. Against Niners, 3-9, not making playoffs. Miami Dolphins, 2-6. Against the Ravens, 2-7. Against Buffalo, 2-8. Against Washington, 2-9, not making playoffs. And the final one is the New York Giants at 2-6. They play the 49ers 2-7, at Chicago 2-8, against Green Bay 2-9, not making playoffs. Alrighty, folks, after that long segment, which I hope everybody enjoyed and watched, we are now into the second half of football season, which I like to call the month of the pretenders and the contenders. So we're going to see what teams are for real and what teams are not for real, trying to make that playoff push, trying to get into the wild card and to win the ultimate goal of getting the Super Bowl. Wednesday, I'll do a show by myself and probably with others. Saturday, there will also be a show too. And for those out there that go Halloween trick-or-treating, please stay careful and be safe. So it's just been enough time for talk. It's time for kickoff. I'm Dave Walker, and we'll see you on the field. Good night, everybody.